Hello everyone! In this video, I'm going to go over a complete unboxing experience of my Elder Scrolls collection, which is my cornerstone in my gaming genre for the games that I play, and my main inspiration for the games I develop. This is going to be a series or playlist of multiple game complete unboxing experiences that have defined my flavor of gaming genre. If you're a gamer, game developer, or an Elder Scrolls fan, consider subscribing. Let's dive into that unboxing. Alright, here's a complete unboxing of both Morrowind and my Daggerfall. I figured I'd go ahead and throw Daggerfall in there since I just have a jewel case. It's not even complete. But you can see here's my Morrowind case box. You can see this actually fortunately isn't my original copy. I got rid of it a long time ago, back when it originally first came out in the early 2000s. So it's a little rough on the edges. This is the Game of the Year edition. It includes Blood Moon and Tribunal. This side edge is pretty rough. You can see here it's missing some of the graphics because of the tape here on the edges. Here's the back, here's the top, here's the underside. You can see here I have that upside down. All the old school PC requirements. Ooh, look at that. Yeah, Windows ME and 98. Oh my, that's so long ago. Windows XP. Yeah, I think I actually did play this on Windows XP. I think back in the day. Of course, I was running on an old school E-Machine Celeron processor. Definitely not their recommended settings. And I remember it was sluggish to play on. Remember the the fog is kind of hard to deal with because they have to minimize that and you wouldn't be able to see very far. You wouldn't have a whole lot of view. You couldn't see the mountains and stuff, at least on that old Celeron processor that I used to play on. Here's the back. It says, Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind is the most detailed game world ever created, where you create and play any kind of character you can imagine. Morrowind sets a new standard in gaming with its incredible graphics, in-depth gameplay, and innovative character development. Experience the definitive version of this award-winning role-playing game. Like I said, this is the Game of the Year edition. Right here it includes the DLC, like it's sitting there. It's got Morrowind, Tribunal, and Blood Moon. Enjoy hundreds of hours of gameplay as you explore Vvardenfell and its many exotic locations, including epic dungeons, detailed cities, and vast landscapes. I've played through the main campaign on Morrowind. Oh, it's amazing. I actually didn't play it through completely until at least 2 or 3 years ago. I would love to get back into it and play it again. It's an amazing storyline with the main character that you play, and then against the main protagonist. Here's Tribunal. Visit the capital city of Mournhold, the Clockwork City, Soule, each complete with new creatures, quests, armors, weapons, and much more. Tribunal is an interesting expansion. I haven't played a ton on it. I've done some stuff in Mournhold. It's kind of interesting how they kind of minimize the scope of the extension of that city, where you can basically get fined or the guards just run after you because you try and levitate, because it actually is it's a city out in the middle of nowhere in the world cell, I guess. But anyway, it's just kind of humorous. That there's just kind of a development standing point that they did to implement that to keep you from seeing those out of bounds. And if you look out of bounds, it's actually just water, I believe, out in the past the city gates and stuff that you can't normally see. Here's Blood Moon. Venture to the frozen island of Slothlum, filled with even more challenges for high-leveled creatures, or become a werewolf and indulge your thirst for the hunt. Blood Moon I've never played. I've ventured a little bit around Slothlum a little bit and actual Morrowind, but I've never really actually gotten through into the campaign. That's something I'd like to get to eventually. You can see here, Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind winner with more than 60 awards, including RPG and Game of the Year. It is interesting, if you notice here, that most Elder Scrolls games after Morrowind are actually not rated T anymore, they're mature.
and they only have blood and violence listed here, which is kind of interesting. The rest are mature, just because of being so much more graphical. But here's the copy. Go ahead and open it up. Not a whole lot in it. Here's the game manual. You can see here, it's in pretty decent shape. You can see it's almost kind of got a little bit of a wrinkle to the top of it. The controls here. These are the manuals, of course, that back in the day when you didn't have really internet, this was how you would learn how to play the game, unless you just dive straight into it. Has all the different, inventory, magic, map, attributes. Really goes in pretty depth of just all the features that this game has to offer and how to play. Shows you your classes, races, there's the controls. You can see this manual's in pretty good shape. That's the manual. Let me pull out the jewel case here. It comes with it. See here it is, Morrowind Game of the Year. Here's the edge. See here it says Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind Game of the Year Edition. Of course, this is all repeated stuff from the back of the box. Morrowind, Tribunal, and Blood Moon. Has all the same text. Open it up here. Here's your CDs. This is back whenever they included all the physical stuff. Like here's actually the creation kit that you can actually use. No, actually, excuse me, it's right here, construction set. That you use for creating mods and such for Morrowind, of course. This is something that's kind of we're getting past with all the games going all completely digital these days, where we don't have neat things like this provided with the game. Not even all games even include a construction set too with the game. Let's see here. Of course, this thing's getting old. They're not holding the CDs as well. And here's with expansions, Blood Moon and Tribunal. You can see here, it's art, Blood Moon. Fortunately, it is kind of loose. I'll just have to be careful closing that out so it doesn't fall out. But this is my Morrowind set. Let's go over here and look at the Daggerfall. There's not much to it, unfortunately. I just mainly have the CD. You can see here to install. This is an old DOS game. If you've actually ever played it, it tells you how to install it. There are those commands. You can see here. Let me open it up and you can see a little bit better on the actual decal of the CD cover. This is, I never really played it back when it first came out, and I didn't play it till later. I had heard about it and stuff. Just never really didn't have a whole lot of PC games back in the DOS games. Like mostly I played with was my uncle's, which was Doom. Kind of wish he would have had this, and this would have been a lot more fun to play than Doom. Just my opinion, personal opinion, but I wouldn't have been able to play it very well. Just because of the fact that just all the systems and features that these games have to offer with the tribute system and character build systems were pretty complex for at least the age I was at the time period when these came out. I had a hard time picking up and grasping actually Morrowind back in the day, just because I didn't understand the agility system and trying to hit enemies and stuff. This almost pretty much kind of almost influenced the same thing. You can miss a lot if you don't have your character built correctly. With agility, I believe is what it is, so you can hit your characters. Anyway, you can see here some of the game shots, some of the decals back here, picture of the game. This back of this reads, "Return again to the world of Tamriel." Of course, this is the second one. Arena is the first one, which I do not have. The largest world ever created for a computer role-playing game. Adventure through thousands of cities, villages, dungeons, graveyards, ruins, castles, shrines, and farms. This is one of the neat things about Daggerfall. It's just because of the fact that this world is so huge. Even for this time period, it was all randomly generated, except for a lot of the cities were pre-generated, like the names and stuff, and like the capitals, of course, like Daggerfall, and most of the names that you're most familiar with, you'll find on there. I'm not sure if they actually physically carved out those cities like Daggerfall, but a lot of those cities were actually just pre-generated and placed out. Same with some of the dungeons, except for like quest dungeons, I think were designed by hand. There's other quests that you do in the game that I know that are actually just completely generated dungeons. They're randomly generated, and they can get huge too, from what I remember. It's been a while since I played, at least 2 or 3 years ago. I played through this. I've never really played through the full-on main campaign of it. It's just one of those. It's a Bethesda game, so you get easily distracted and end up doing a whole bunch of other stuff. But yeah, you can interact with thousands of characters, both in dialogue and action. The amazing thing about the dialogue in this game is it's very extensive, and you can talk to anybody and ask all sorts of different topics about things and get yourself directed for quests and rumors, and it's a lot more extended of the predecessors of most Elder Scrolls games with dialogue. Involve yourself in a complex world of constantly evolving political intrigue. Own property and ships. Participate in politics, guilds, and other organizations, and trade goods and services. This is interesting because property and ships, a lot of the like Oblivion and Skyrim, you can own property and stuff in the vanilla-based game, but it's just not to the extent levels of this. I kind of feel like I may be eating my own words though. But anyway, you can own your own property, be able to do some things in that, especially with some of the modified stuff I'm probably mainly thinking off of. But I never really got into the ship stuff, which seems interesting. You could actually travel fairly quickly from what I've seen on Blue Online. There's a massive amount of guilds that you can join in this game and other organizations. It's ridiculous how many different things you can do, guild-wise and just join-wise, organization-wise, in this versus Elder Scrolls games going forward, which makes sense because just the scopes that they're going at with these larger games make it really hard to do like the level that they have of guilds. But a lot of the stuff that you can do in this, they'll have their own main quest, but a lot of them are just kind of like just randomly kind of generated quests, and you'll kind of notice a repeatedness with it and how it works with those quest systems. Customize your character or even create a unique character class. I love the unique character classing features in this game, and of course, you know, it kind of pushes into the next Elder Scrolls games that they allow you to be able to build your own character classes. The customization is very limited in this game because, of course, everything's sprites and pixelated. Let's see here. Participate in numerous large-scale, complex quests or venture off on your own. Multiple path story with several different endings. You decide how the game is played and won. Speaking of this, with it being like a multiple path story, I, of course, don't have experience of playing the main campaign, but I do know that if you actually don't follow up on the main campaign and actually go to the main objective to get things started, you can actually miss that window and won't be able to start it at all. I guess it's kind of funny because you can kind of do what a lot of Elder Scrolls games, the newer ones, that you can't do. You can basically just be an average Joe and just dismiss the main story and just be an average Joe, not be anybody special. And then they'll just move on and find someone else to do that main quest instead of your character that you're playing through, which is really neat because you can role play by doing those flexibilities of that main campaign, whether you want to do that or not in your current playthrough. But yeah, here's my copy of Daggerfall. Of course, I don't have the front cover art, which is kind of a bummer, but that's okay. I mean, this stuff is old, and this stuff is just really hard to come by. It'd be nice to have the box, but that kind of stuff is really rare and hard to come by. Here's my Oblivion collection. This is actually my original PC Oblivion copy that I got back in when it originally released back in like 2006, I believe. It was one of the PC games, or just really just games in general, that I just can never part with. I'll get to it here in just a second. I'm going to start out with this is actually something I picked up recently. I actually originally had this for PS3 when it first came out, the 5th year anniversary edition. But I picked this up recently for the Xbox 360 just because of the fact that, well, it's not that I like Xbox better than PlayStation, it's just I prefer the controllers really more than anything. But here, let's go ahead and go over to this back and just kind of look at this stuff on here. Of course, it's got all the DLC here that you see that's included. Knights of the Nine, Shivering Isles. It's got some, let's see here. This course you could see, it's got a steel collector book. I actually noticed that some people that had used copies of this, it'll actually rust, which is kind of interesting. So I was able to find a nice copy here, steel casing that's not rusted. You can see here it includes the documentary I'm making, Oblivion. You can actually even watch that on Bethesda's website. It comes with a full map. I've already have mine on the wall. It's in this. You can see here where it says the Complete Oblivion Collection. The 5th Anniversary Edition includes the original award-winning game plus Knights of the Nine and Shivering Isles expansion. Oblivion. With the Empire ready to crumble, the gates of Oblivion opened and demons march upon the land. You must find the lost heir to the throne and unveil the sinister plot that threatens to destroy all of Tamriel. Knights of the Nine. A fallen king has been unchained from the darkness of Oblivion to seek vengeance upon the gods who banished him. Only a champion, pure of heart, can vanquish the evil that has been released upon the land. Shivering Isles. Enter the torn realm of Sheogorath, a world where Mana and Dementia reign. I completely slaughtered that, forgive me. Do you have the strength to survive his trials, to tame the realm, fraught with paranoia and despair, and wear the mantle of a god? Shivering Isles is pretty crazy, especially the voice actor that plays Sheogorath. I forget his name right now, but this is just an excellent copy, with it being Xbox 360. I do have an Xbox One. I actually already pre-installed it. You can see here what all it comes with. Here's the disc, and then I believe this is the disc 2 is, I think, the documentary. I'm trying to look on it to see where, if it says it anything anywhere. It's in good shape. Let's see here. Yeah, I'm sure this has got the documentary in it, but I just kind of wanted to take these off just so you could see the Dremore on the back. And if you kind of can tell, you can see the Oblivion emblem right here within the plastic. It looks pretty nice. And this is actually got a nice hunk of stuff in here. Of course, this is the game manual. It's not very thick compared to some of the older ones. Got an advertisement in here for, of course, Skyrim. This came out, I remember too, a few months before Elder Scrolls Skyrim came out, and I picked up my PlayStation 3 copy back in the day just because I wanted to replay. Of course, here's the Shivering Isles. This is my only copy of Shivering Isles. I actually don't have it on my wall. There's a pre-order. Here's the bonus material. This is the DVD for the documentary. That's the 2 discs actually for the game, and probably the second one has the DLC. And you can see here's one of the blades. You can see on this side too, it has the Oblivion kind of gate emblem embedded in the plastic. Just very nice, very pretty. You can see here on the back and the front, pretty much the same. You can see around the edges it actually has some of that writing. I'm not sure exactly what kind of language it is, but you can see from the typical Oblivion writing and stuff on the edges. Very nice. Let's move on to my actual copy, original copy. This is right here, 2006. This is for the PC. It's funny because back in the day when I first got this, I wasn't paying attention. This is when DVDs were actually pretty new. I think they were anyway, but I made the mistake. I ended up returning my original first copy and then exchanging it for another one, and I was like, then I finally realized, DVD-ROM? Oh, yeah, this was back whenever PC DVDs, there were differences between CD-ROM and DVD-ROM, so I actually had a CD-ROM drive, so I had to upgrade it to a DVD-ROM. Most typical CD-ROMs or drives now are actually able to read DVDs. That's pretty old school. But see in here, here's a nice little opening panel. You can see here, one look at Oblivion will shatter your concepts about what is possible in a video game. That's a Game Informer comment. Radiant AI technology interacts with over 1,000 characters that have 24/7 schedules, dynamic conversations, full speech, lip syncing, and facial animations. Oh my. Yeah, this comment on this, if you follow people like Bacon or just some other people, it just, it's great for the time, but even for the time, man, it's buggy, and it exchanges for some hilarious NPC conversation and just some crazy stuff that can happen between other NPC characters, and just sometimes some chaos and some funny bugs happening. You can see here advanced combat systems, use countless types of melee weapons, devastating spells, or stealth to customize the game to your own style. This is one of the things that I've always loved, and it's kind of my central point of action RPG is Oblivion, just because of the fact of flexibility. You can come in and choose all your attributes, what you want, and you could still have the flexibility of literally changing your character even despite what you chose, but you're going to want to stick with what you chose just because of the fact that that'll level your character. But I love the flexibility that it has. I always kind of have. Streamlined interface. Easily navigate through your inventory, journal, and spellbook as you play in first or third person. The inventory system, in my opinion, is pretty good for console, at least for that time and era. But now it's kind of dated. I would recommend using some mods. There's some mods out there that you can make it a lot more user-friendly, especially for PC. Playing in third person, I don't recommend for this game. It's kind of wonky. It looks like your character's kind of like walking on a treadmill, as the animation doesn't really synchronize with the ground. Combat, yeah, it's interesting visually wise anyway. But you can see here, epic locations and landscapes, embark on countless adventures through stunning forests, vast dungeons, and fiery plains of Oblivion itself. To call the graphics amazing is an extraordinary understatement. GameSpy, oh my. Yeah, I remember when this first came out, it really, graphics-wise, is okay. But one of the biggest things that kind of like bothered me the most, if you can tell, and their characters, like literally the characters just are potato faces. They just don't, there's something about them, they just don't look right. That's one thing they kind of made. You can make some hilarious NPCs out of the character creation system. But I don't, that's not a very updated comment anyway. But yeah, about Oblivion. The Oblivion itself, those gates that you go through, there's actually not very many. I don't remember how many you can actually go through. They're kind of like randomly generated. Not randomly generated, excuse me. They're more like randomly chosen in their preset, like world's little interior cells that you go to, so they can get repetitive fairly quickly. You can see here's the side, Oblivion. There's the top, the bottom, other side. Here's the back. Turn the tide of darkness. With Empire ready to crumble, the gates of Oblivion open, and demons march upon the land. You must find the lost heir to the throne and unravel the sinister plot that threatens to destroy all of Tamriel. Live another life in another world. Create and play any character you can imagine, from noble warrior to a sinister assassin. Next generation graphics. Oh boy. Unprecedented visuals, including lifelike towns, dungeons, and realistic forests. Oh boy, it's kind of underwhelming, especially for today's standards. This is very dated for that kind of stuff. But first-person melee and magic. An all-new combat magic system brings first-person role-playing to the next level. This is one of the reasons why I've kind of always liked the Elder Scrolls. I love first-person games. First-person games are just kind of what I kind of really started with. PC-wise, of course, most people played Doom, the original, but I played that a lot when I was a little kid. Just really fascinated with the first-person perspective. Kind of enjoyed it. Sorry, I just now realized that that's a little bit hard to see right there. It must have been a sticker there at one point. This right here says, one look at Oblivion will shatter excuse me. Will shatter your computations about what is possible in a video game. That's a Game Informer comment. Interesting. You can see here's some boards. There's all the additional pictures. Of course, it's mature. This is the complete box. You can see here what I've got in it. I've actually got an extra copy of Knights of the Nine inside of it. Here's my game manual. Here's actually another copy I have of the map. Here's my game disc. There's Knights of the Nine. That's an extra copy. Let's not worry about that. But here's the manual. You can see here, this one's actually a lot thicker than the 5th year anniversary. It has a lot more information in it. See where it tells you the controls, how to navigate the UI and races, what the health bar and stamina bars are used for, the different attributes in the game. This is just one of those nostalgic things that these game manuals really just kind of helped you learn before you actually play, and you just kind of, at least back of this era. Oh, that's cool. So you would actually grab these manuals and read them on your way home, or whenever you couldn't play. I would actually buy the player's guides and read through those. They have a lot more information in them, but I've never really gotten the player's guides for the Elder Scrolls series. The wiki online is pretty thorough. Here's my Knights of the Nine. See here, the gods of forsaken Tamriel, fallen king has been unchained from the darkness of Oblivion to seek vengeance upon the gods who banish him. Only a champion pure of heart can banish the evil that has been released upon the land. You must heed the call and reclaim the lost relics of the Divine Crusader. Return to the Nine to Glory, the dungeon characters. You can see here I got some residue on it. This is actually something I picked up recently. It's just really just got the disc in it. I actually, just because I wanted the case, and you can see here, PC CD-ROM. Yeah, because this is DVD-ROM. It's just kind of interesting to me. They just use that because they could save space. But of course, on the Shivering Isles, you see it's a DVD-ROM. Here it is. It's all the same content and same wording, really, pretty much from the 5th year anniversary. New lands to explore, new creatures and items, unveil mysteries. See here, they're talking about 2006 Game of the Year. Of course, this is pretty much the same, except it's got another Shivering Isles map. I forgot about that. Of course, here's the disc. Not much else in it other than install instructions. And here, anyway, this is my collection of Oblivion. Here's the Skyrim original game soundtrack by Jeremy Soule. This is my copy. I've originally bought it back in 2011. Just one of the things that I couldn't part with because I just absolutely loved Jeremy Soule's composure for Skyrim. It's just so, it's just amazing. Definitely one of best of Jeremy Soule's composes. It's just great to listen to. It's great to focus. It's great for gameplay. I use it a lot for ambient background for just, doing about anything from workflow to playing games to being around the family, doing normal stuff. But this is great. I've just had this and kept this in my collection for a while. Of course, of Skyrim. Here's the Nintendo Switch. Here's my copy for PC. I picked this up recently just because I wanted an actual just PC copy, just for my physical collection. Of course, this is the original. You could say this is the broken version. Got the nice game manual, got the map. I've already got one actually hung up on my wall and framed in a nice little frame, picture frame. You can see here on the back, Epic Fantasy Reborn, the next chapter in Elder Scrolls Saga arrives from Bethesda Game Studios, the maker of the 2006 and 2008 Game of the Year. Skyrim reimagines and revolutionizes the open-world fantasy epic, bringing to life complete virtual world, open for you to explore in any way you choose. The legendary freedom of choice, storytelling, and adventure of the Elder Scrolls is realized like never before. Dragons, long lost to the passage of the Elder Scrolls, have returned to Tamriel. The future of the Empire hangs in the balance. As Dragonborn, the prophesized hero born with the power of the voice, you are the only one who can stand amongst them. This is interesting kind of direction they took with Skyrim. with making you be the Dragonborn, when in Oblivion you actually end up finding the Dragonborn, which is actually the Emperor, and how that works, and with the Imperials and their Emperor. But it's interesting how they kind of just changed it and made it where, well, congratulations, you're Dragonborn, off from literally the start of the game. I'm not very fond of that. It's just kind of like handing the keys of being, hey, you're somebody, right off the bat. I liked Oblivion because it kind of gave you a little bit more of, you had to work to get somewhere, reputation-wise, and I feel like Skyrim kind of jumped you a little bit too quickly with reputation. I typically play it modded to where I don't get to be Dragonborn right away. A lot of people tend to favor that kind of modded setup, but it's just an interesting direction they took. If you do roleplay and stuff, then you kind of understand the fact that, hey, I don't want to be a well-known person, especially when I haven't hardly done anything for the reputation of that. But this is just my copy of Keep PC. That's the complete boxing. Alright, this is not normally stuff that I'm going to cover, but this is just part of, because I'm a huge Elder Scrolls fan, and a lot of my content is going to be based and inspired really off of this kind of stuff, related to how the Elder Scrolls, the games are mainly. But these two books came out back in 2011. You can see here down in the bottom left. Actually, oh, wow, yeah, 2009. Actually, the second one here came out, you can see here, 2011. Actually, in 2011, I didn't actually realize that this book was even actually out. I read it first, and then this one came out in 2011. This just kind of scratched my itch until Elder Scrolls Skyrim actually came out. These are extraordinary books. I love them. It's been a while since I've read them. I'll have to pick up the audiobook again sometime so that I can reread these. But here, this is the Infernal City. You can see it's Greg Keyes. Here's the side of the book. Elder Scrolls novels. See here, we can read on the back. 4 decades after the Oblivion crisis, Tamriel is threatened by a new, all-consuming evil. Umbril, a floating city, casts a terrifying shadow for whatever it falls. But people die and rise again. These books actually take place, I believe, in between Oblivion and Skyrim, the Elder Scrolls games. This takes place after, you can see here, Oblivion Crisis, which it's referring to the Oblivion game. It takes place after those events. Let's see here. Inside Umbril's shadow, a great adventure begins. A group of unlikely heroes meet. A legendary prince with a deep secret. A daring spy on the trail of vast conspiracy. A mage obsessed with his desires for revenge. And Og, a young girl in those lands. A fate of Tamriel may rest. I'm pretty sure I butchered her name, but anyway, I just remember that she's kind of the main protagonist that you kind of follow in this book. Just very interesting story, and where she ends up, and how things are kind of panned out in the game. You can see here, it's based on the award-winning Elder Scrolls series. Infernal Cities is the first of 2 exhilarating novels that continue the story of Elder Scrolls Oblivion. See, it's right here. 2006 Game of the Year by numerous outlets, including Spike TV, Golden Joystick Awards, and the Associated Press. These are great books if you're just looking for some good novels, good stories. These are definitely good. Lord of Souls, which this is the second book, like it just mentioned on the back side of that. Nice cover art here, just like the first one. You can see here, that's the Imperial City. There's that city which it mentions, I believe, on the back side of this. It's Umbril. That's Umbril. Neat little floating island. Really neat little idea they had. Of course, on the back here, 40 years after Oblivion Crisis, same stuff as the other one. Just kind of giving a point of view where it's taking place. Of course, this continues off the first book. Reeling in from a devastating discovery, Prince Adrius continues on his seemingly doomed quest to obtain a magic sword that holds the key to destroying the deadly invaders. Meanwhile, in the Imperial City, the spy Cullen finds evidence of betrayal at the heart of the Empire. Through his own heart, may betray him first. And Anog, trapped in Umbrella itself, has become a slave to its Dark Lord and its unslaughterable hunger for souls. How can these three unlikely heroes save Tamriel when they cannot even save themselves? Now you can see here it says all the same stuff, but yeah, this is a really good book. And if you're just curious kind of about the book and just kind of to show off this part of my Elder Scrolls collection.
Comment in the description on how the Elder Scrolls series affected you in your gaming. Has it inspired you enough to mod or become a game developer? It's inspired me to create indie games similar to Elder Scrolls games, but at a much smaller scope, as I plan to release several micro games on itch and work my way towards my larger scope game called Afterborn. For more content and updates on my projects, be sure to subscribe. Be positive, be creative. Thanks for watching.